Everstar Grove is full of hazards, and while you can't fight back against all of them, there are still plenty of opportunities for the soldier path to crack some skulls. I'll cover all 3 path missions in the order of appearance following the Grove's quest route, but you can also use the links in the description below to jump right to the ones you need. This zone begins with a defend mission, Thrashing Wilds. To find it, run north along the road out of Greenleaf Glade from your arrival point in the zone, then turn left and head toward the water. There is a small outlet of land surrounded by a natural rock wall. The start of the mission will be the beacon right in the center. Interact with the beacon by pressing F or your assigned interact key, and the mission will begin. Almost all soldier objectives involve fighting enemies, but defend missions are unique as you have to keep friendly NPCs from harm at the same time. In this case, the goal is to defend 4 Exile survivors for 4 waves of enemies. The mobs in this fight are all fierce versions of the local wildlife, namely Dawngrazers, Dagons, and Ravenok. Try to pick them up quickly as they'll run straight for the survivors after they spawn. Another good strategy is to face the enemies away from the survivors when possible. This is especially important for enemies such as the Dawngrazers, which use AoE attacks that can still hit the Orin even if they aren't the mob's primary target. Face down 3 waves of wildlife and you'll lure out the boss of this fight, a stem dragon with more health than the other enemies so far. The stem dragon also has a large circular AoE attack, so be sure to drag this fight just outside of the beacon circle if your survivors are running low on health. Take it down and the mission is complete. Completing this objective will grant a soldier victory buff called defensive coating to anyone who participated, increasing their armor by 35% for 20 minutes. In addition to party members, note that any player can jump in during the middle of a mission to help out. The enemies won't grant any leveling experience, but certain mobs such as the Ravenok will count toward quest objectives in the area. No matter how many players help out, it won't detract from your path rewards, though you may see more enemies appear if you choose to start the mission as a group. Before heading to the second mission, there is a perk of the soldier path to watch for as you progress through the zone. If you see a red crate marked with the soldier path icon, you can interact with it to select a path-specific item. These are weapon caches, which grant temporary weapons with a limited number of charges. Although they're called weapons, these items can't be equipped. Instead, check your inventory and right-click the weapon to activate it, as shown here. The items have a pretty long cooldown and will be destroyed on logout. Weapon cache locations are random and the cache will disappear shortly after being opened, so while these items won't really help you power through the zone, they can be a fun way to mix things up or to experiment with skills that would usually be unavailable to your character, like using this frag grenade to taunt the local Dagon. For the next objective, head into Barkblight Glen and look for a beacon on the east side near the entrance to the area, just after the landscape begins to change. Interact with this to begin Holdout Barkblight Swarms. For this mission, there is no set number of enemies to defeat. Instead, endless waves of Barkblight creatures will appear for 2 minutes. The enemies here appear to be mostly Savagers and Spawnlings, and the waves switch between larger groups of weaker enemies and solo or paired versions of the same types of mobs with slightly more health. These guys are pretty simple. The Savagers can use short-range circular lunge attacks, while Spawnlings will use line AoEs. Both attacks have a long charge time, so you can dodge them just by stepping out of the way. New waves will appear at set intervals or after you defeat the previous wave. The only objective of the mission is to stay alive and keep near the beacon, so there are a few ways you can handle this. If you like, you can whittle a group down to 1 easy mob and dodge to kill time, or you can go for a challenge and try to knock out as many waves as possible before the mission ends. As long as you're on your feet when the timer ends, you'll still walk away with the mission complete and the soldier victory buff additive health, which increases health by 30% for 20 minutes. Note that the enemies which appear for the Barkblight Swarm's holdout count toward the objectives for the zone story quest, A Plagued Forest. So if you want to, you could save this mission until that point in the story to tackle 2 goals at once. The last mission in Everstar Grove is Holdout Rodent Removal, which takes place at the very edge of Bloodbloom Vale just before you reach Fort Firestorm. Coming toward the fort along the main road, look to your left as you near the water. This holdout beacon is hidden near a group of machines toward the edge of the area. Interact with the holdout to begin a 4-round showdown with the local Dominion. Each round will begin with a set of drill dozers erupting around the beacon area. An AoE circle will warn you of their arrival points. If you happen to be standing there when the drills come up, you will take a small amount of damage and be knocked back. For the first 3 rounds, a small group of Firestorm invaders will spawn at one of the drill dozers. The Chua in these fights tend to move as a group and use cone-shaped AoE attacks. If you're fighting close up, the easiest way to avoid this is to step to the side or take out the attacker before it finishes charging. You'll have about 30 seconds to defeat each wave, including the time it takes for the drill dozers to surface and disappear again. Survive the first 3 and you'll be able to face off against the Firestorm Captain, a stalker who has more health and shields than other enemies in the mission so far. On my run, the Captain only used simple line attacks in addition to regular strikes, so the most important part of this fight is to finish it before the time runs out. Do so, and you'll receive another additive health boost along with the last path experience in the Grove. That's it for the missions in this zone, so congratulations on defending the settlers of Everstar Grove. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!